Summoning Jutsu!
Episode 67 opens with Naruto screaming at Kakashi to stop the match since he believes Sasuke stands no chance against Gaara. Naruto's belief is clearly shared by Guy and Lee since they both glare at Kakashi while waiting his response. The trio isn't crazy for believing Gaara is far too powerful for Sasuke either. The last time they saw Sasuke, he got doodlebot by weighted Lee. If you want to count a clearly drained Sasuke, which likely isn't the reference they were going off of, the last gauge of Sasuke's power level is his fight against Yuri, which wasn't very impressive at all. The man could barely stand. With all the information they have available, their conclusion is valid. The scene then transitions over to Sasuke while Kakashi says, "There's a reason we were so late getting here." There isn't a huge difference between the anime and the manga's interpretation, but I still prefer the manga's. As you can see, anime Sasuke has his Sharingan activated. That alone isn't a huge deal, but alongside my criticisms, it adds up. The next problem I have is Sasuke's hair. It looks far too tame in my opinion. It's hard to articulate exactly what I mean, so for reference, here's a side-by-side of the manga. I probably should have started with this, but it is what it is. Look at anime Sasuke's hair versus manga Sasuke's. Manga Sasuke's hair is much more spread out and the shading makes his hair look a lot darker. That makes him look much cooler, which in turn adds to the praise Kakashi is giving him. You know, it sort of goes along with the hype. Manga Sasuke's left eye is closed, his hand isn't covering his smile, which is even more significant now that I give it a closer look because anime Sasuke is smirking, not smiling. Manga Sasuke also has his fingers spread apart. All of those details play into Sasuke looking much more confident and powerful, like he has an ace up his sleeve. Anime Sasuke just looks weird to me. You can definitely chalk it up to an art style diff if you wanted, but I think it's primarily how Sasuke was portrayed versus how he looks.
Late for the show, but ready to go!
There's no reason for Naruto to narrate the title here. Sasuke is the main character too, and the episode is about him, so just let him do it.
The third eye. But that technique. What's he doing?
I think you know what he's doing. He's probably not making tea and crumpets in there. So Sasuke decides to rush the dome to unleash the barrage of taijutsu for really no good reason. He already knew that wasn't going to work. We knew that wasn't going to work. So what's the point? Well, to get a cool action scene, of course. That's why the anime left Sasuke's Sharingan activated, so he could run up and dodge a bunch of Gaara sand spikes while continuously trying to punch the dome. By doing so, Studio Pierrot made Sasuke look like an amoeba. Now don't get me wrong, one attempt makes sense because it's normal to test out your opponent's jutsu. Hell, the anime has him throw some kunai before running in as a sort of preemptive measure. However, running circles around it while continually trying to physically strike the sand dome is outright foolish. Since Sasuke has his Sharingan activated, he can see the vast amount of chakra flowing throughout the dome, or at least I think he can since he was able to look and see the chakra in all those clones. And I don't know exactly what the Sharingan sees, but he can see chakra, I know that much. Maybe he can't determine its potency, but he can definitely come to the conclusion that punching spike equal bad. The manga handled this scene much better, and in less time. Sasuke doesn't have his Sharingan activated, and he simply blitzes the dome, kicks it, then immediately backs off. That results in Sasuke looking much more competent, and it's much more clear that he is still in control of the fight since he is very clearly holding back. And while I'm here, manga Sasuke's dialogue is also superior. It's no good, just as I figured. Makes Sasuke sound confident with a hint of arrogance, just like you'd expect him to sound. The anime opts for this.
Well, that won't work. Big surprise.
It gets the job done, but it doesn't quite hit like the manga does. The anime is sort of misleading as well. Sasuke is shown frowning while Gaara recites his incantation as if he can hear what he's saying. Granted, Sasuke does say he has no idea what Gaara is doing in there a few moments later, but given that Sasuke's Sharingan is activated and he seemingly reacted to Gaara summoning Shukaku, it really seems like Sasuke could see or hear Gaara. Well, at least to me it does. Upon realizing taijutsu isn't going to work, Sasuke decides to test out the Chidori. Now, maybe I'm just a casual scrub because I have no idea why Studio Pierrot animated Sasuke unbuttoning his arm straps. It doesn't really seem to play any role other than being a reference to Rock Lee loosening his arm straps when he was about to use the primary lotus. This next part is where I get a little bit tilted. Just outside the wall of Konoha, we're shown 4 Anbu Black Ops members dashing through the forest. The trailing member stops and begins to scan the area, but quickly comes to the realization that it must have just been the wind. Konoha, please explain, why are your Anbu Black Ops so bad? Only one member of the 4-man squad detected a strange presence in the area, but he didn't even investigate it properly. There are literally dozens of enemy ninjas standing right outside of the bushes, and all they had to do was pass an until dawn level skill check to get the better of them. It's also worth mentioning that had there been a Hyuga or Inuzuka in the area, they would have easily found the ninja. The Hyuga are literally built for this kind of mission, yet they're all inside the village consuming tea and crumpets. The scene cuts back to Sasuke vs Gaara with the climax only a few moments away. Kakashi continues to hype up Sasuke while Team Baki quakes in their boots since Gaara just threw their whole plan out the window. Shino finally gets his opportunity to shine since while Temari and Kaku are quaking in their boots, they're also speaking out loud, which in turn allows Shino to display his Shikamaru level of intelligence.
What's that lunatic think he's doing? How long is he gonna stay in that thing?
I don't know, but he's not following the plan.
Plan?
Following Shino's unmatched detective skills, the reason for Sasuke and Kakashi being late is revealed. It turns out, Kakashi taught him the special beam cannon. That of course throws Guy for a loop because the complexity of the special beam cannon. Naruto is thrown for an even bigger loop because Sasuke learned a powerful new technique which officially makes him cooler again. In all practicality though, Naruto is still much more powerful than Sasuke at this point. Via his Kurama amp, Naruto is faster, stronger, and more durable than Sasuke. Naruto is also capable of summoning Gamabunta, who would absolutely body Sasuke as well. Something I didn't notice when watching this scene in the past is they used a part of Rock Lee's soundtrack for Sasuke. The theme they sampled is Rock Lee's Lotus theme. Also, when you think about it, Kakashi teaching Sasuke the Chidori is kind of ironic. Kakashi has been desperately trying to protect Sasuke and set him down the right path. The very technique he used against Orochimaru to protect Sasuke is a very technique that makes Orochimaru several times more interested in snatching his body. Chidori is a jutsu derived from Kakashi's failure to add his lightning nature to the Rasengan, meaning Orochimaru couldn't have possibly recreated that jutsu even if he stole Sasuke's body. Simply having the lightning nature wouldn't be enough. Kakashi literally gave Orochimaru a fine jutsu to add to his collection. Also, before I move on, I just want to say that this is where the anime shines. Prior to using Chidori, anime Sasuke looked real goofy using his Sharingan. Now this could potentially be for retcon purposes, I don't know. But in the manga, Sasuke does not have his Sharingan activated. And I mean, at all. While reading the manga, I thought Sasuke was going to activate his Sharingan before he started running. To my surprise, he doesn't even activate them for what I thought was an iconic moment. Sasuke not having his Sharingan activated takes away from the panel. Also, after Sasuke lands the Chidori on Gaara, he's shown to have dodged Gaara's sand spikes without the need of his Sharingan. Now that I've covered the manga, I'll contrast it with the anime. This shot of Sasuke is a 9 out of 10 for me. The only thing that would make it better in my opinion is if the wound on his cheek was still there. The blood being there would complete his adventure aesthetic. The manga definitely should have added in something like this as well. Just 1 or 2 panels would have sufficed. I mean, look at how close the spike came to Shiska bobbing him. If the Sharingan being required is a retcon, the anime did a great job at being sure to include it here so that this scene wouldn't become a plot hole later on. As for the dialogue, guys saying this always cracks me up.
It's the weapon of choice for assassinations.
How? How is that even possible? Sure, the Chidori is really good at blitzing and one-tapping opponents, but when I hear assassination, I envision a stealth operation, not some guy yelling at me with a bullhorn that he's going to stab me in the throat once he gets to me. Naturally, everyone is in awe after seeing Sasuke penetrate Gaara's defense. Guy soon takes the time to explain why the Chidori is also called the Lightning Blade, since Kakashi once cut a lightning bolt in half. Sakura and Choji take Guy at his word, but Ino remains as skeptical as ever.
Yeah, right. These old guys and their war stories.
It's a good thing Lee can't hear Ino's thoughts, or else he'd be throwing a fit like he did when Naruto doubted Guy.
A dangerous technique, not to be taught lightly.
Yeah, you're one to talk.
Kakashi's right. I'm not sure why Guy thought he had the moral high ground, considering he taught Lee how to use the 8 inner gates. Although, an argument could be made that Lee would be extremely corn and would be more of a liability than an asset as a shinobi if he did not have the 8 gates. The only way he wouldn't be is if he stuck to low tier missions. Lee realizes that himself too after watching Sasuke's fight. In 1 month, Sasuke managed to catch up to him in speed, plus he has superior genetics. You know, the Sharingan, being Uchiha and all that. I don't want to say Lee stopped training as hard after this scene, but it kinda seems like he did, or at the very least, Sasuke catching up to him was used as a convenient way to bench Lee. Now obviously, Lee is currently injured and it's going to be that way until the Sasuke Retrieval arc. I'm talking about after that, aka Naruto Shippuden. I think a great way to have Lee remain relevant as a character would have been to have him utilize this moment to inspire a new training regime. If Lee focused on becoming as fast as he possibly could in base form, while also perfecting his 8 inner gates, he would have been a force to be reckoned with. When I say that, I mean if Lee, in a sense, became the Flash. That may sound ridiculous, but think about it. Lee is quote-unquote a taijutsu specialist. However, if you take someone who is relative to him in speed, he doesn't dog them. They keep up with him just fine. It's either that or there's a huge gap between him and his opponent. The only way Lee as a character can be relevant after this point is if he had immense speed and attack potency. That's why I said if he became the Flash. The Flash has a technique called the Infinite Mass Punch. If Lee took this L and firmly placed it on his chin, he could have created his own version of the Infinite Mass Punch. If you guys have ever seen Invincible, Discount Flash was playing a more supportive role in the beginning of the fight. Lee covering Tenten and Neji like this would be insane. And should push come to shove, Lee could burst open those gates and go all in with a linear attack. Seeing Lee defeat an opponent with a very tactic he said he could never do would have indeed made for a legendary moment. I said it once and I'll say it again. These Sand Shinobi are literally right outside the Great Wall of the Leaf and are somehow going completely undetected. I'm beginning to think all the security guards are AFK.
It's almost time.
There wasn't any reverb or room distortion there, so either that was a mistake on the editor's part or Kabuto said that out loud. If it's the latter, then those two goons definitely should have heard Kabuto since he wasn't whispering. Shikamaru takes note that prior to seeing Sasuke fight, Naruto thought he was too weak, and after seeing him fight, he thinks he's too strong. Which, again, doesn't make any sense. The show sort of debunks itself immediately since Naruto begins recalling all the training he did in the past month, as well as beating Neji. But for some reason, Naruto ranked Sasuke being slightly above base Lee level plus Chidori over being able to draw upon Kurama's power at will and summoning Gamabunta. It'd be more understandable if Sasuke was 4th gate Lee level, but he isn't anywhere near that. Sure, he doesn't have a flashy jutsu, so that's a feels bad, but other than that, he ranks higher than Sasuke. I can't quite put my finger on it, but I really like this scene. Maybe it's because of the slow build up to this moment. When Gaara was first introduced, Temari and Kankuro were clearly terrified of him, leaving us to assume he was extremely powerful. Next, we see Gaara dispatch Needle Boy and clear the forest of death without getting touched. After that, a huge spectacle is made when Rock Lee lands his first hit on Gaara, which brings us here. The moment when Gaara's absolute defense is penetrated and blood is drawn. You can tell how confused Gaara is by his expression and his lack of focus. It's not as if Gaara lost control of his chakra in this moment. His sand dome is still standing and grabbing onto Sasuke's arm. Gaara could have easily crushed Sasuke's arm just like he did Lee's, but he doesn't. Instead, he sits there in complete shock. Maybe it's because Sasuke had just performed the hand seal, so there's some sort of recast timer that I'm just not aware of that allows him to recast his Chidori like this. Even still, this is a case of saved by the plot. Sasuke should not be experienced enough to pull off a stunt like this. As we all know though, that's exactly what Sasuke did, and luckily for Sasuke, Everyone is too distracted by Shukaku's arm to notice he used his main character powers to escape. Speaking of Shukaku, it's a shame Hiruzen didn't get a simple, "Is that?" or anything of the sort. Considering he was close to Hashirama and Tobirama, plus the Leaf was at war with the Sand in the past, you'd think one of the Ramas would have relayed the information about their enemy's tailed beast, or at the very least, Hiruzen would have seen Shukaku himself. It's really hard to believe the Sand didn't use Shukaku during any of that. According to the show, none of the Leaf Ninja have any idea what, or rather who, Shukaku is. Now obviously, he's no Kurama, but that doesn't mean his chakra signature is undetectable. We get proof of the contrary actually. Well, now that I think about it, maybe we didn't. Upon reading this panel, I couldn't tell if it was Genma's first time feeling the water jet in a jacuzzi, or if he was sensing one of the legendary tailed beasts. The moment Kurama's power started leaking from Naruto, Kakashi and Zabuza immediately detected it. Now, trust me, I understand this isn't the land of waves, and Shukaku isn't Kurama. However, given that there are hundreds, if not thousands of people spectating this fight, Anbu Blackout's members included, even though they're corn, but we're not going to talk about that, are we to assume that one person could sense a second chakra signature in Gaara's dome? Like, you're telling me that there just isn't a single Hyuga that is in the audience that just decided to go, hey, you know what, let me open my Byakugan real quick, let's see what the hell's going on here. I mean, granted, the invasion is moments away from beginning anyway, but it would have been cool to see Konoha, the strongest, most renowned village, not suck. End of rant. The manga did a better job at handling Shukaku's reveal. Continuity-wise, Sasuke's cut is still on his face. Depiction-wise, the panels start off so zoomed out that you can't even tell if Sasuke has his Sharingan activated or not. As the panels zoom in, you can see Sasuke's face become more distraught while looking into the hole. We can't see what's in the hole, which makes the whole scene a lot more ominous. If you ever seen Bird Box, the creatures in the movie were never shown to the viewer, which resulted in a more terrifying experience. The same thing is happening here, but really adds to the paneling is the shading applied to Sasuke when he activates his Sharingan. The whites being exaggerated so much in the 5th panel makes Sasuke's final reaction in the 7th panel hit so much harder. There's so much emotion in Sasuke's eyes alone. His Sharingan are lit up, plus his blood vessels are now visible. The sweat, the dirt, the shadow beneath his eyes, everything about this panel says, please get me out of here. All of that confidence Sasuke had is gone. Sasuke and Neji's plot points are kind of relative to each other at this point. Both are prodigies, top of their class, ocular jutsu, cocky. Both fought Jinchuriki and had the fear of God placed into them when they set their eyes upon said Biju. The difference is Neji used his eyes to look into Naruto while Sasuke used his eyes to peer into Gaara's dome. Oh yeah, and before I move on, it's not that the anime did a horrible job, it's just worse. Sasuke having his Sharingan activated the whole time means he should have been able to see Shukaku the whole time. Plus, doing the whole screen shaking equals horror greatly took away from Sasuke's reaction. Maybe it's just because motion picture horror is harder to grasp than the still images of the manga or something, I don't know. It's just, the manga did a much better job at portraying Sasuke and Neji's reaction than the manga did. I would even argue Sasuke's post-reaction in the anime is worse. In the manga, you can still see how distraught Sasuke is. In addition to that, he thinks, no, those weren't his eyes. What was that I saw earlier? Manga Sasuke isn't an idiot. He knows for a fact what he saw wasn't Gaara. Meanwhile, peep anime Sasuke.
Something's different. That's not the same look in his eyes that I saw before.
I don't know whose man's that is. All I can say is that he's not mine. You know, I don't know what was so special about that guy that led to Kabuto knocking him out first. Maybe he just wanted to test his jutsu on him or something. But all I can say is, F that guy, am I right? Kabuto's genjutsu knocks out pretty much everybody, except for a select few. I'm glad some generic leaf ninja also passed the skill check. It truly does make the world feel more alive when the background characters aren't complete bots. Speaking of background characters, let's read these next few panels together, shall we? Kai, release! Heh, leave it to the Konoha elites. They would notice and reverse the genjutsu. Kishimoto is a ginormous troll, that's all I'm saying. I know Orochimaru and Hiruzen looking at each other all slow and dramatic is supposed to build tension, but the appropriate caption for this scene is this. So the goons set off the smoke bomb and Konoha Crush set in motion. Given that Sasuke isn't asleep, he must have had genjutsu training when he was a wee lad, considering Kakashi never mentioned teaching him anything about genjutsu. Just thought I'd point that out. Just a heads up, I'm still working on that other project I mentioned 2 months back. I haven't forgotten about the channel or anything like that. I'm still doing my best to improve the content. The other project is also Naruto related. Once I get the ball rolling, I think you guys will really come to appreciate it. Be sure to give me that help a brother out special, aka hit the like and subscribe button so you can help promote the channel and receive more content. Remain resolute. I'll see you all in the next video. Deuces.
Ninja art and the video jutsu.